Yo, what's going on? Your boy Ghost here, and today I am bringing you guys a comparison video between the M16 and AMAX. Now, this comparison might seem a little random to you guys, but let me explain to you why I'm making this. See, ever since the DMR got nerfed, the AMAX, no question, has been like a go-to weapon that everyone uses and considers meta. And then now recently, or even after the nerf as well, the burst weapons, AUG and M16, were getting a little bit of attention. And, people consider them meta. And somehow, even a lot of people consider the AUG even the better burst weapon, but for me personally, I'm just messing with M16 a lot more. And with my increased usage of the M16, I decided why not make this comparison. But before we get into that, I want to say if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications. We are on the grind to 2K. So if you can, help me get there, that'd be very appreciated. And if you also want some live streaming content, make sure to go check me out on Twitch, always goes _ because that's where I be grinding too. I'm saying we're over there grinding, live streaming, and whatnot. And also, if you want a better chance of interacting with me, that's the best place to do it. But anyways, with that being said, let's get to the comparison. And here we have the recoil pattern for the M16, which actually is very minimal. The recoil is very minimal on this gun because it's a burst weapon. You cannot just simply hold down your fire button and have it, go burst after burst. You have to, tap it to get the burst, which makes it good. But here we have my class setup, and I know some of you guys are a little skeptical on that barrel that I'm using, because if you guys did not know, for people that do not know actually, the titanium barrel and along with other barrels were changed in the last update. Some received buffs, some received nerfs, and some of them just didn't change at all. But they didn't actually announce it in their patch notes. But with testing being done by several other people, we found out that some barrels were nerfed, and not just from the M16. This is across a lot of weapons in Warzone, especially from the Cold War side. So what I'm saying, if you guys want a more depth analysis of those changes, check out somebody like J God, who actually did the testing, and I'm pretty sure made videos on it. So go out and check him out to see the actual changes that happened. But I will say that I used this titanium barrel after the change was made. In the video that you guys saw a few days ago for the M16, I was using the titanium barrel while it was in the, the nerf stage. And let me just say, if this weapon is still good enough in the state that it's in with the titanium barrel, imagine using a proper barrel with it. It can only get better. Now, I don't personally know the best barrel to use. I didn't really get an opportunity to truly test out the barrels because I'm kind of short on time right now. But maybe in this case also that no barrel might be better, because if you guys did not know, some weapons in Modern War or in Warzone from the Cold War side, if you don't use a barrel on them, they're actually better, like the XM4. So I don't know if that's the case for the M16. Probably not though, because I think if you would want an attempt to get faster burst, but at the end of the day, man, I don't really know what the best barrel is. Some testing has to be done there. I guess personal preference also takes into account. So if you guys want to go ahead and test out the M16 with different barrels, that's up to you guys. Because I'm pretty sure the titanium is not theoretically the best barrel, but it's still pretty good. Now, the M16, man, I've always wanted a burst weapon to use in playing Warzone, and I'm a big burst weapon fan. My favorite weapon of all time is the M8 from just, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2, doesn't really matter. I just love the M8. And to see that Modern Warfare kind of had a lack in burst weapons was kind of whack. They did have the whatever, the FAMAS, right? The burst FAMAS. And I didn't really play multiplayer, so I didn't really get to use it in that. And when Warzone came out, the FAMAS wasn't really good, so no one really used it. And I tried using it time to time. I tried making videos on it in the past, but I just couldn't. I don't know why. It wasn't completely horrible, but it wasn't as good as like the M16 or AUG. And when I saw that Cold War was gonna have the M16 and AUG, and they were burst weapons, and then they were really good in multiplayer, I was like, wait a minute, this could be good for Warzone. And then the integration came, the DMR took meta, and any chances of the burst weapons taking meta or even being usable was just thrown out the window, because we had to worry about the DMR. But with the DMR nerf came, people started thinking, well, maybe the AUG M16 could be meta, and that gained a little traction for a little bit. Then people went back to the AMAX and other weapons, and I don't know, I haven't really been hearing that much about the M16 or AUG. I don't really see a lot of people using it as well, which is kind of sad, because I'm not gonna sit here and say like seeing an M16 at Warzone is rare, because it's still used, but it's not like AMAX used or Growl used. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not a lot of frequency in this stuff. Maybe the AUG, but not the M16. And yes, again, the argument can be made that the AUG is better than M16. I'm not really here to debate that, but I believe both weapons are really good. And for me personally, M16 just hits different for me. I'll be 2-bursting, 3-bursting people from pretty good ranges. I consistently do it, and it's just really fun to be running around with this burst weapon, you know, just straight up annihilating people. And at range, it actually has a pretty decent range game. Again, it's still going to suffer from the whole range thing because most Cold War ARs, rifles, all kind of, you know what I'm saying, they suffer from that. But with that being said, man, let's get into the AMAX. And here we have the recoil pattern for the AMAX. As you can see, it's the complete opposite of the M16 because it's literally going all over the place. And that little factor right there tends to steer people away from this weapon. And here is my class setup, which I know some of you guys might have a few things to say about it, specifically the underbarrel. As you guys can see or saw, I was using the operator foregrip instead of like a commando, ranger, or merc, and that's very simple, man. That just comes down to how I feel about some of the underbarrels. The ranger and merc, I don't really like running on ARs, never did, and that's no different for the AMAX. And then the commando, I always loved it. That's my go-to underbarrel when I use the ARs. But when I went back to the AMAX recently, the commando was just very, I don't know, I couldn't control it. You know, I couldn't control it, and I used to be able to, but this time around, I wasn't able to, and I was like, I have to make a change because I need to be able to control this weapon and be able to slay people at long range. And I put on the operator, and it became a different weapon for me. Now, it might not be the same for you. You know, you might like the merc, the ranger, or even the commando, maybe even something else other than the underbarrel. That's up to you, man. At the end of the day, man, that's your own preference. But anyways, this AMX, man, has pretty much been one of the best or the top tier weapons since, I don't know, it became went into meta conversation, which was like around the kilo time. When the kilo came into meta, the AMX started getting a little bit more attention. But it never truly got the #1 spot because the kilo was like the go-to for, I guess, one reason alone, and that's the fact that it was easier to use than the AMX. Yeah, I think the one reason the AMX isn't truly like the #1 weapon is because it isn't user friendly. You know, the recoil makes it not appealing to some people because, you know, it does require a little bit more skill to control something like the AMAX as opposed to like a kilo or growl or even the M16 in this case, which is, you know what I'm saying, you know, I feel like people should be willing to take on the challenge because this weapon, if you can control it and are able to fully master it, it's a monster. It's amazing. And one of the things I like about this weapon, and I mention this all the time, is the fact that even if I'm missing all my shots with the AMAX, I don't really feel like I get punished because of how much damage it does. You know, I feel like I'm able to pretty much sit here and empty out a full clip and hit a few shots and I'm going to get my kill because I know that the damage is going to make up for it. But here's the thing, the M16 has the damage aspect and it has like no recoil. So, you know what I'm saying, like the M16 do got to beat in that sense. Like most of the times when I'm comparing the AMAX with any other weapon, the other weapon or the opposite weapon will never have the damage or even close to the damage as the AMAX, except for maybe like the RAM when I did that comparison. But this M16 definitely has, you know, it can compete with the damage. You know, again, I'm literally 2-3 bursting people and my gun doesn't move. But I will say at those like extremely long ranges, I don't have any advantage over the AMAX because the M16 just doesn't have it. It can't hit from that far. And if it does, it's not going to be doing anything. The damage is not going to exist, which is sad because, again, imagine if the M16 was able to do that. Man, that gun would be just, oh my God. But to be honest, I kind of wish that they don't like buff the M16 only because I don't want people to end up complaining about it so much to the point where, you know, it gets completely eradicated into the ground and nobody uses it. And then it would make burst weapons unusable again, which would make me very sad. And I think the M16 and the current place that it's at right now, it's pretty good. And it's not completely broken, but it's also like not completely terrible. It's in a good place and it's very viable. And that's why right now it's being considered one of the metas in the game, or potentially one of the metas in the game. The AMAX, you know, nothing too crazy here. I don't see this gun ever getting nerfed as well. It's just like the bad things and good things about it just very offset each other, and it makes the gun balanced as well. You know what I'm saying? If you either got it or you don't with the AMAX. You know, not everyone's going to be able to pick it up and be good with it. And I like weapons like that because, you know, not anyone could just sit here and become a god with it. And that's what I hated about the DMR. Just any player, whether they were better or not better than me, could just kill me without any effort. It was annoying. Like, I felt kills that I deserved to get were just robbed from me because the DMR was able to kill me because it required nothing. Look, And I'm an advocate again for weapons being hard to use, but at the same time I understand both sides. I know that if every weapon, you know, required a lot to be good with it, then, you know, the game wouldn't be fun, because the majority of the game, or the population of the game, wouldn't like it, and you know, they would just kill the game in the end. And we don't want that. We want Warzone to thrive for a long time. But anyways, with that being said, man, let me know what you guys think about these weapons. Which one do you personally prefer and why? Yeah, talk to you guys later. I'm out. Peace.